Hello, Karen Leon here, mature Seint makeup artist, and I'm going to be showing you a beginner makeup tutorial using Seint 3D foundation. If you don't know what it is, it's an all cream-based makeup housed in one palette. You can have your lip and cheek colors, your eyeshadows, contour, pretty much everything you need. I'm going to be demoing with two of my favorite brushes, a perfector sponge, and then I'll show you how to set your makeup when we're all done. So let's get started. Welcome. First thing I like to do when I prep my makeup is a lot of times I'll do my eyeshadow and my mascara ahead of time. That's kind of a nice thing to do because then as we apply our makeup, we can kind of clean up around it. So starting out, I've got a clean face, a little bit of eyeshadow mascara, and some color in my brows. First thing I'm going to do now is use my cream contour. These are all cream-based makeup, and contour is really just it's just to add a shadow and to help frame your face. So if you're unfamiliar with this makeup, or if you're not familiar with highlighting and contouring, this might be a video that you want to watch. If you know all about it, you can, don't worry, you don't have to stay for the whole thing. But basically what we're doing is we're adding a shadow up on our forehead. I have a taller forehead, you may as well. If you do, bring that contour down a bit. If you have a shorter forehead, don't bring it down as much. Really, really easy way to do that. And also if your face is a little bit wider, you can bring the contour down along your temples. And if you have a more narrow face or kind of more hollowed out, then don't do that. So that's what's so great about this makeup, is that you're going to apply it based on your own bone structure, but the premise is pretty much still the same. So the next place we're going to add contours underneath our cheekbones. We all like to add a little definition to our cheekbones, give ourselves a little bit of bone structure, lift. So taking that same brush, the detail brush, I'm going to tap into my contour just kind of on the side. I'm not loading the full thing, and I'm just lightly tapping. That is a big key. We don't ever want to swipe that makeup in or really load this brush heavily. As you watch me do this makeup here, you're going to see that I'm just tapping into the makeup and I'm tapping it on my skin. I'm being very light-handed because really, this makeup is so pigmented that it's probably the biggest troubleshooting issue that we have is that gals just use too much the first couple times until they get used to it. Once you realize how little you have to use to get the coverage that you like, that's going to be a big changer. So the other cool thing about the contour is it does provide coverage. So this is going to be part of your 3D foundation. Our contour shade is really going to add a shadow, add some definition to our jawline. That's what I'm doing here, pulling it down my neck. And when you apply your contour, you're usually not going to layer makeup over the top of that contour because it's part of your foundation now, which is so great. So this is kind of keeping this to a one layer foundation, which is just a great way to use this makeup, keeping it nice and light. It's not heavy and it's not going to be cakey. All right. So the next thing in my palette here, I color match all of my customers to a contour shade and then 3 highlight shades. Now you may not get all 3 highlight shades, that's going to be up to you, but it's nice to kind of know what those shades would be. A color corrector or kind of a camouflage shade, if you need that for under eye discoloration, maybe really dark sunspots or areas of really deep redness where you need a little extra coverage, your main foundation or highlight shade, and then a brightener or a pop shade. So I'm going to tap the other side of this brush. That's why I love this detail brush, because it's got the smaller end. I'm going to tap into this shade here, and I'm going to apply it where I need a little extra coverage. One is right here along the side of my cheek where I've got a larger sunspot, and it's kind of right in that contour area. So I'm just tapping it right there just to give myself a bit of extra. I already did my eyelids, but you know, some of us have kind of bluish purple under eye. Instead of going in with a really light concealer, it's nice to actually use more of a color corrector shade underneath your eyes to neutralize just the areas that need it. There's no reason to put a bunch of makeup underneath your eyes trying to layer or cover something when really it might just be a small few little areas that you just want to kind of get some color correcting to. And that's all I did, a very small amount. I'm going to put a lot of us have broken capillaries, purple discoloration. A lot of times that happens along your chin. You could have really intense redness on your cheeks, nose. So areas like that is where you may want to use this warmer color corrector shade, and it's going to be different for everybody. So that's why it's important to get color matched so that we can get you the right tone and the right shade for your skin. So that's it. Very small amount so far. The next thing we're going to do is go into our main highlight shade. And we call our foundation shades highlights. This one here is going to be the main shade, the one that looks closest to my skin tone. I'm going to use this side of the blush and bronzer brush. I love this brush. These two are my two favorites. This one here is going to apply my main shade. It's going to blend. It's going to apply my blush. And this side here I use for a lot of different things, bronzing, my setting spray. So I'll show you that. But I want to just reiterate how to load your brush. So no swiping. We're not digging this in. We're just taking and almost kissing the makeup with the brush. And then you're going to come over and apply it pretty much the same way. So first place I'm putting it is kind of right along the center of my face here, my nose, right across my cheeks, and just a very light amount. That's all you need. Tapping back in. Let's go ahead and apply some up here on the forehead, but I don't need to go over the top of the contour. That's what's so great about that, is I'm just going to go kind of around it down here, and then we'll blend, tapping back in. Now let's go ahead and apply some right here. They kind of call this the side of your cheek or the beard area. Again, not over the contour, not necessarily over my chin where I already put a color corrector, but just right along the side here. Maybe on my temples, I missed that. So tapping again. So here we're just applying our main shade, very small amount. I'm just tapping it on. Okay, let me see. I think I forgot to do my temple over here. Okay, so once you get a little bit of the makeup on, then you just continue with this brush, and we're going to do a bit of blending and pressing it into your skin and kind of merging together the main shades, the color corrector shade, the contour. So I like to just take that same brush. I don't need to clean it off. I'm going to come up here where my contour meets my main shade, and I'm going to just press or stipple over the top. So the makeup is cream, okay? So the cream makeup sits on top of your skin. That's what's so great about it, is it doesn't dry out your skin. It doesn't look cakey if you have the right shades, and it's moisturizing, but all skin types can wear it. So whether you have dry skin, combination skin, or oily skin, you use so little of this makeup, it's not heavy, and you can see that it's really not heavy. You can still see a lot of my skin underneath. That's what I want. I don't want it to look like a mask. And so all I'm doing is just kind of taking this brush and pouncing like this over the makeup. This is probably the part that takes the longest because I really want to just move that makeup around. I'm not going over the top of my contour yet. What I can do is just lightly tap just a little bit. I don't want to wipe off the contour, so we're not doing any swiping. We're just doing some tapping, and that's really important, especially with more mature skin. We don't necessarily want to be swiping makeup on or dragging brushes across our face, just because, you know, one, if you have makeup underneath, you're going to wipe all that makeup off, and also if you have like color corrector or some other colors around there, you're going to also disturb that. So what's so great about having 3 highlight shades, when you get color matched and you get your 3 highlight shades, is that no matter what time of year it is, you're always going to have shades that are going to work for you. So these shades don't have to necessarily be used just by themselves. So if you are a little bit cooler or a little bit lighter in the winter than you were in the summer, you can use your main shade, but you could also tap your lighter shade, your highlight or brightener shade, into your main shade and actually create another color, okay? You can tap on your finger and just apply it. So you're gonna find that really having these 3 shades, you're probably gonna be just fine. The thing we're gonna do though is put in some brightener. Now, This is what I like to call a brightener or a pop shade. I don't call this my concealer. I'm not going to layer it underneath my eye where I have all this texture and what I want to do is use it in areas to add light. So I'm just tapping lightly a bit, and I'm going to put some on the inside of my eye where it tends to get a little dark in that socket. I'm going to put some out here above my contour and kind of like right here in this outer V, because I want to give a little light and lift. So if you think about highlighting and contouring, all it is playing with light and shadow. That's really all we're doing. So we're adding light so that reflects, pulls forward. So parts of our face, right? Want to make something look light or brighter or more pull forward, we're going to add a little bit of a highlight or a lighter shade. If we want things to recede or to be defined or pushed back, we add a shadow, and that's really all that highlighting and contouring is. So I wanted to pull forward this part of our face, the center of our face, so I added my brightener or my pop shades right there. All right, so how are we going to blend these in? A couple different ways. You can take your finger and you can tap and pull, you know, that brightener, just kind of blend it right in to your skin. Because we don't want it to be like a halo effect. We just, look at that, we just want it to reflect and pop some light. That's all we're doing. You can also take the small end of your detail brush and you could pounce, that whole kind of stippling pouncing motion again, to push it in and to move and to lighten that up. In the larger areas, you can bring back this end of the brush where we applied our main shade and just, again, doing that light tapping over. So there's a lot of different ways that you can blend in your makeup. I think it's important though to have the right brushes, and you know, the Seint brushes are made to work with the cream foundation, so it is important to have these brushes. The other thing you can use is your perfector sponge, and this is a beauty blender. I've already done a couple lives today, a couple videos, so it's kind of got makeup all over it, but it's damp, it's not wet. That's really key. When you are using a beauty blender with cream makeup, you don't want your beauty blender, or as we call it, the perfector sponge, to be dry or soaking wet. If it's too wet, it'll wipe the makeup off. It'll wash it off, right? If it's too dry, it actually will lift off too much makeup as well. It needs to be just damp. And you do that by getting it wet underneath water, squeeze, fill it up, then squeeze all that water out and completely get all the water out. Let it air dry a bit before you use it. So it's just cool to the touch. It's damp, but it's not wet. All right, so you can also use that to blend and to push in. So there we go. Very, very easy way to add light, a little bit of framing to our face, even out your skin tone, get a little bit of a glow. That's what cream makeup does. So that is what I just did. Contour and 3 highlight shades, one that gave me a little extra coverage, my main shade, and one to give me some light or a little bit of brightness to the center of my face. So now that we've totally evened out our skin tone, we need to add some color back in, right? So let's add some color in with some cream lip and cheek. And what's so great about the lip and cheek shades is that they are cream, and you can use them on your lips. You can use them as blush. Some of them you can use as eyeshadow. So I'm going to use this shade here. It's a glossy shade, and it is a great shade for fall. It's called Royal. And what I like to show people is that even though this looks so dark in the tin, and of course on the computer screen, the glossy shades are really, really not that dark. They're more of a stain. And of course they have more of a sheer glossy look to them. So they're great to layer on your lips. They're also great to layer over other lip and cheek colors. So this color here is what we call one of our satin shades. And the satin shades are more of a matte, okay? So they've got more pigment. They're a little bit more of a flat, matter shade. This one's called Madrid. And I'm gonna tap it right above my contour towards my temple, right here, because I wanna get a nice lift. Now, if I just use this one on its own, again, I'm using the same brush. I'm not cleaning it off. I'm just gonna tap over and kind of get that. Once you start tapping a bit, it starts to move and blend. So you can just see just that nice, pretty, sheer, kind of a peachy pink tone. Now, if I wanted to make this one a little bit more fall, I can, let me put a little bit more on, add some of this royal to it. So you can mix these shades together and get a little bit more of a warmer or a little bit more fall tone. And so royal is a glossy shade that's really great to add to any of your lighter pink or peach lip and cheek shades, especially the matte ones, which is what we call our satins, and they'll warm up and kind of give you a little bit more of a fall color. So again, we're gonna take some of this, I'm gonna Madrid, I'm gonna tap it right above my contour, and then I'm gonna take a little bit of the royal and I'm gonna tap over to create a custom lip and cheek color. I could have done this on my lips, but I guess right now I'm just doing the cheek. But there you go. So that kind of gives you a little bit more of a warmer tone. So look at the shades that you already have in your palette if you are one of a Seint customer of mine, or if you're brand new, you know, you can use, if you love pinks, get yourself a shade that's a little bit warmer and have the two that you can work together. So royal's a great shade for that. All right, let's go ahead and keep going, and we will go ahead and flip over. So really quick, if you're brand new and you're catching this later, this is all Seint cream foundation. It's highlights, contour, lip and cheek. They're all magnetic, so they stick inside these palettes. You get color matched by an artist like myself. This is another side of the palette. It's like a double decker, so you can put here and here. Then on this side, you can put in other parts of our makeup. You can add bronzer, an illuminator. Now illuminators are, they come in cream and powder. This one's a cream, it's called rose gold. And so they have kind of almost an iridescent shimmer to them. Can you see that when I turn against the light? And really they're just used to add even more of a glow or an illumination. They don't have a lot of coverage. They're more sheer, but they're just gonna give you that extra illumination, that little extra glow. I like to put them right above my cheekbone. You can put it down your nose, up here on your eye, anywhere that you just want to reflect a bit more light when you turn, and it's just really fun. Bronzer is great. It's a cream bronzer. You can bronze to warm up your skin tone. That's a great tip between summer and fall to kind of warm up your skin. Work away if you've been out and about in the sun over the summer. You can warm up your chest so that your chest and your face match, and you can do that with bronzer. The blush and bronzer brush is great. You can use this end of it here. You can even use this end of the blush end. And a lot of times you can pull some bronzer down on your neck. And again, you're using so little of it. This transfers less on your clothes than like liquid or powder. So I'm just using a bit, and that'll help warm up my neck to my face here. I could also put warmth, you know, bronzer up here, but I'm not gonna do that today. Here you can add eyeshadows. So these are all powder eyeshadows. I love them because they're very pigmented and they don't have a lot of filler in them. So they're really a lot of pigment, not a ton of filler. So because of that, you don't get a lot of fallout. I've noticed a lot of gals who have had issues with eyeshadows that irritate their eyes and make their eyes turn red or water. That was me. Especially with the reds and the burgundies. These don't do that. I have not had any problem, and I've used all of them. Every single shade I've tested out. So these are great. These are, you can pop eyeshadows in here and just have all of your makeup in one palette. Couple brushes, the detail brush, the blush and bronzer brush. There's also the 3D brush that a lot of gals start with. This is a great brush if you just need one brush and you can only afford one brush when you start. This brush is just a little bit trickier to use. I find that these four, technically, because you're getting 4 brushes for the price of 2, are really the best to start with. They're my favorites, and I'm just gonna start recommending them because it's really what I do love. The 3D brush is great. You can use it also in so many different ways, just this one brush, but I just find it a little bit harder with this bigger end to use. But I do have a video that I send out with it, so you'll know how to use it if that's the only brush you do get. All right, let's set our makeup really quick. You want to use setting spray, so shake it up really well. Hey, Susan. You can either spray your face with setting spray. I don't like to do that. I will actually use this end of my blush and bronzer brush, and I'll just squirt the end of it. And then I can just take it and pounce lightly because I don't want to rub my makeup off. I'm just applying it. Can you see where it looks wet? Now I can strategically tap on and set my makeup without getting it all over my face or on my eyes or my mascara and things like that. So that's a great way to do it. You can also kind of close your eyes and spray it on as well. But love doing this. Been a Seint artist for 3 years now, 56. Lots of experience color matching ladies who look like me, who look like you. And so if you are brand new, have not been color matched, haven't ordered before, and want to get started with Seint, I'm your gal. Let me know, and I'm happy to help.